Got another take here from y'all talking about Alabama and where they are in our top 25.
Hey, JD PicKell. This is Casey from Madison, Alabama. And I'm looking at these spring ratings, and I am not a happy camper. JD, I'm really upset because I'm looking at all these teams that are put in front of the Crimson Tide, and I'm just unhappy. Kalen, DeBoer, the guy that coached for the national championship 2 years ago, the guy that came in for the GOAT, and actually, while people think he was a down year, managed to have a 9-win season, beating the eventual SEC champions. I have faith that guy is better than he's definitely better than the A&M coach and the South Carolina coach. I have faith in Alabama. I think that Ty Simpson's going to ball. I think Ryan Williams and Jeremy Renard are going to go crazy this year. I think that the addition of Isaiah Horton is going to be splendid. It's this Florida and Auburn thing. Walk me through it because I feel like this is almost lose your credential worthy. Mr. JD, help me out here.
All right, well, we'll address the Florida-Auburn part of this a little bit later, but let's start with the major gripe. Alabama at number 11. It feels weird seeing that script day outside the top 10, but you look at this top 10, I feel good about every single team ahead of them at quarterback or they made the college football playoff. Like A&M, I like Marcel Reed. At least I know who he is. Same deal at number 9 and number 8. Sellers and Nussmeier, yeah, I'll take that to the bank. Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon, Clemson, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas, all college football playoff teams. Something that Alabama was not a season ago. Now you sit here and say, well, JD, what was the problem in Alabama last year? Why didn't they make the college football playoff? Glad you asked. They didn't have a quarterback. Had Jalen Milroe. He wasn't good enough last year to run the system. I've said so many times, no offense to Jalen Milroe. No, actually, offense to Jalen Milroe. They were not good enough last year at quarterback. Period. Mic drop. The end. Alabama fans know that. And it wasn't like I wasn't high on the guy going into the year. I thought it'd be awesome. It wasn't the way that it worked out. And so if that was the problem last year, and you're entering into a new year with a question mark at quarterback, can you guarantee me that's fixed? I think that Ty Simpson's going to be good. I think that if it's not him, Keelan Russell could be good, or Austin Mack could be good. But that's the point, right? We don't know just yet. And so this is not a prediction. This is where we are in spring. And as of right now, there is no assurances, there is no guarantees that problem is fixed. There's none. I feel, again, going back to that top 25, I feel better about all the teams in front of them at quarterback, or I feel better about their roster in relation to them being a college football playoff team. So I will say this, Alabama in 2025, they will be quarterback driven. If you needed more proof of that, go back and watch the 2024 season. Go back and watch what Washington was with Ryan Grubb as the OC there with Kalen DeBoer. They're reunited, and it feels so good. If I see Ty Simpson slinging it in September, he walks out there against Florida State, first drive, and he's just out there playing darts, give me a Hayes Fawcett graphic. I'm committing to Alabama. I'll be all in on the Tide. That'll be all I need to see. But if that is the major hinge point, that's the major variable, I don't know that we have the Mentos to the Coke just yet. I think you could. But if you're asking me to project in the future, okay, we'll talk about that. But a current standing in spring, I don't see it. I don't see it just yet. And that's not anybody's fault. We didn't get spring game broadcast, did our best to keep our ear to the ground on the intel. Alabama hasn't named a quarterback yet. I think it's going to be Ty Simpson at this point. There's no guarantees that's the case either. So to speak to Florida and Auburn, Florida, I know who their quarterback is. I know he's really good. Top 20 in returning production, a team that finished the year with 2 top 25 wins. I like the trajectory. Right now, I feel like I know more about Florida at the most important position with the way they finished last year, okay? There were times last year for Alabama where the way they finished was, abysmal. Losses to Oklahoma, losses to Michigan. I think Alabama is going to be good, but I don't have them higher because of just what I said, the question marks around them. Auburn, same deal. They're a little bit more tricky to get a pulse for because you have a new quarterback in Jackson Arnold. Now, let's make sure this is clear. Alabama is still ahead of Florida, is still ahead of Auburn. I've been pretty vocal the entire time. I'm not out on Alabama. I'm just not into the point where I know they're going to be a top 10 team. So if we hear good things about Ty Simpson, we see good things about Ty Simpson early on, I think they're going to have a chance to be awesome. I've said many a time, Kalen DeBoer, he knows quarterbacks. The fact that none of these individuals have transferred out tells me, 1, it's still a battle, and 2, he feels good about all those guys in that room. Keelan Russell's the future, but Austin Mack, he's still there. Ty Simpson, he's still there. And I think the fact that they're there is in some way, shape, or form a bit of a peek into the room that Kalen DeBoer must have communicated something to, hey, keep going. We're going to see how this thing goes in the fall. Keep battling. Is some of that he's trying to keep his roster intact? I'm sure it's part of it. I don't think that's inappropriate to assume that he wants to keep as few of those quarterbacks in the transfer portal as possible. But I also think the fact that he recruited Austin Mack twice, both to Washington and to Alabama, I don't think that's nothing. Ty Simpson, the fact that he's still there after not being the guy multiple times under Nick Saban, I think that says something about how good Kalen DeBoer feels about him. Keelan Russell, what he was as a prospect speaks for itself. If Alabama has a dude at quarterback, they're a national title competitor. Again, we have a blank here. We just don't have any way of filling in. So for me right now, they're outside the top 10. It's not knocking Bama. It's just how I feel about them at this point in the spring. But if we were projecting, maybe Bama's higher. We'll give you our prediction here as we get closer into the fall. But all that to say, we're not out on Bama. We're just asking proper questions, I think, before the season starts. And I can't wait to see what they are.